7 minutes after 9 o'clock, 65 degrees, by the way, and it's time for In the Garden with Caroline. Caroline Baldwin is in the studio, so if you have any questions about your lawn, your garden, your apple tree, or anything else, the phone number is 622-9622, 622-WOCA. Caroline is a master gardener and has studied the master gardener classes, I guess, forever.
Yeah,
forever. As long as I've known you, anyway. Yeah. That's forever. Good morning, Caroline. How you doing?
Good morning, Larry. Real good. How are you?
Good. And Joe?
Joe's down the other end.
Today?
Yeah,
I got some stuff I want to talk to very quickly.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to get out of the way and let you talk about gardening. And
yeah.
see, before we went on the air, I already picked her brain this morning on some things. I need to buy certain kind of trees, and she knew all kinds of trees and how high they're going to be and what they're going to let and how you should plant them far apart and everything. I said, fantastic.
That's great.
That I knew that. But then I noticed that Robin came over there and gave her 2 gift certificates to give away.
Yes, she did.
And I'm just going to elaborate on those 2. Then I'm going to get out of the way. If you're watching the video,
if you're watching on there.
That's Magnolia Bakery and Eatery, and they make cakes and they make bakery stuff. And it is. I was telling her the story. I went in there, and they had this time of the year where it's the spiritual time of the year, and they make the St. Joseph cake, and they make the meat. I call it the meat pie, the meat cake. And I said, I wonder if it's going to taste like. And I took one bite out of that, and it took me back at least 50 years. I almost cried.
Ah,
I mean, that's.
I gotta try that. What's it called? Meat cake?
It's like a meat cake, a meat pie. They call it.
Pie.
And it's regatta cheese and it's cream. And I don't know, but it's very flaky. It's not a.
We went over there and had the thing you told us you had, which was the sausage sandwich.
Sausage and peppers and
really good.
And it's like $7.99. Yeah. And it's in a. It's not a half a loaf. It's a loaf of Italian bread.
Yeah.
And they slice it in this, And you know what? I cut it in half, and I ate half. And I said, you know what it tastes like? And I said to myself, the other half. Boom, bing, bang, and it was gone. But the pastries there are unbelievable. Of course, their daughter makes the donuts next door. But she makes all the dad, I think.
Oh, I didn't realize that was the same business.
Yeah, the daughter. And Sal, he works from 12 midnight until in the morning. And a lot of the restaurants you go around here and you're eating their Italian bread. Because, see, that's only open from 11 in the morning until 5. But he's there at midnight till like 10 in the morning, baking the bread and everything.
Okay.
So, and that part of the operation is open 364 days a year. So you can guess what day they're closed, you know. So he does that, but the front is, you walk in there and you gain a pound.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you go on, I'm 99% sure Robin put on her Facebook the pictures I took, and you and Robin went there. It was like,
yeah, it was good.
It was good. So we've got 2
good choices.
$10 gift certificates that we're going to give away later on. That'll give you and Larry do that thing.
Yeah.
But when I seen that, I said I just got to put my 2 cents in, and I'll be stopping there again. And
if you're looking for that good true Italian bakery, eatery kind of thing, that's like Joe said, he was telling me.
Artichoke hearts and artichokes and Italian olives and.
It is good.
All the good stuff.
More than good. I went, and the soup. Because I bought a loaf of Italian bread. I said, I don't really. He said, put it in the freezer. Yeah. And then when you take it out, you break off and you put it in a soup. And you
he's going to make us hungry. You know, every time we get talking about food, it's like, okay.
But that is to me, it's like.
So for those who don't know where it is.
Oh, yeah. It's
a little further north than I thought it was. It's actually closer to the Lifestyle Pavilion than it is to the downtown area.
It's right at there's a traffic light there.
Yeah.
And it's
14th and Magnolia, is it? I'm trying to find the street number.
It's further north than the old Coca-Cola bottling.
Right. It's on the left-hand side.
If you had to
go towards the exit.
1400 block of North Magnolia. So 14th Street, it's like 14th Street and Magnolia. I thought that's where it was.
Yeah, it's a very unassuming building.
Yes.
Right.
It's old Ocala.
Yeah, don't expect the glitter and the I mean, it's just and there's a limited parking. I think maybe it'll hold 20 cars, maybe.
Right.
But you get in there and you get like 1 or 2. How many tables in there? Like 4?
Maybe
4 little tables.
And there's 2 outside.
And they had 2 outside. But did you get to read the aprons?
No.
Some of the sayings on the aprons.
No.
I can't. I got to take pictures of them. Oh, funny. They are funny stuff. But anyway.
So
we're going to give 2 of those away, and I'm out here. You talk about your greenery.
That's all the green stuff.
I got brown thumbs, so you know.
Well, that's actually brown thumbs are good. It means you're playing in the dirt.
I'm playing in the dirt.
Yeah, that's it.
It'd be my luck I found the brown stuff in the dirt,
And
you know.
then,
Yeah, brown dirt.
Yeah, brown
But
dirt.
anyway, so.
But
Yeah, last time I bought 2 things, now I have twigs.
Oh.
They died. I got twigs, so I got to try it again.
yeah, little more water maybe.
Well, I watered them. I think
that
I
might be the other
overwatered
way.
them. Yeah, I
Might be the other way,
think I'm drowning. Oops. So,
Life jacket.
so what? I got the big planters,
Oh, okay.
big ones, and I put 2 evergreens in there,
Right.
and they died. So I'm
Yeah,
thinking
it's probably overwatered. A lot of people,
Well,
just
what
like Larry did with the apple tree, was it's dry right here. When I put my finger in, it must be dry down in the bottom, and
But it's
no,
not.
it's still wet down
Well,
there.
I was thinking maybe the pot didn't have holes in the
Enough
bottom.
drainage, yeah.
So I'm going to get it, and I'm going to get my drill and drill
push
half
them
in
holes. Yeah.
half inch holes,
Yeah.
about 3 of them,
Yep.
enough just for the water to filter through. And
yep.
so I think that was the problem. I think all the water just stood in there.
Not quite enough. If it didn't have drainage, or if it did have drainage, it wasn't enough for the size of the pot.
For the size of it, it was that
Yeah,
round and
yeah.
about that high. Yeah,
That's
2 of them.
that's a pretty big one.
Yeah, so I'm going to buy 2 other evergreens.
Yeah.
And they were just they look nice when they were evergreen, but not
Right.
evergreen.
But, yeah,
they're ever twigs
They
now.
were ever brown now. But and remember, even though that even though it's a big planter, you're still using potting mix. Don't
Yeah, there
use it.
was. Yeah, I
the
bought the
garden
potting.
soil's cheaper, but potting mix is what goes in a pot, and
Is
it's
that the
all
one
on
with the
sale right
little
now.
white little things
Yeah, it's
in
got
it?
the perlite in it. That's how you can kind of tell the difference. Is usually
mine is
that's a
pearl white or
perlite,
whatever,
yeah,
but yeah,
the little styrofoamy looking stuff.
That's what they are. They're not styrofoam?
No,
What are they?
no, it's perlite.
What's perlite?
It's, as far as I know, it's like a volcanic kind of thing.
So it holds water or something?
It helps to aerate. It helps to lighten the soil, but does help with moisture control also.
Okay.
So yeah.
And now, once you plant, okay, and let's say a year goes by, you should stir out.
You're
should you
probably
stir up and then add more?
after about a year, if you want to keep said plant in the same pot, if it has not outgrown it,
Yeah.
you're looking at probably taking it out. Removing some of that old soil and putting fresh in, just because it's probably used up anything
Nutrients.
nutrition wise that the soil had, or you could, and that the roots are getting very tight in there,
Yeah.
and that sometimes they don't hold water anymore. When you put the water in, it whoosh, right through,
Right.
and you don't want that to happen, because that's then it's not holding any water. So it could be that can be when it's basically used up the soil. So swapping some out, adding, and usually most all of the potting mixes, garden soils, all of those things have fertilizer in them.
Okay, so
it's
about
not
once every
something
2
when
years,
a year or
agitate
two,
and replace.
a year or 2 years, depending on the size of the plant and how the plant's doing. If the plant's doing fine, like that peperonia over here. Now it's a house plant. It's been in that pot we were over at the Cascades.
I don't know. Maybe did you ever change the? No. Did Robert ever change the?
I mean, only when I
soil in that?
replanted. Only when I replanted
I
it
don't
was,
think
I
we ever
believe,
changed
the
it,
last
no.
time
Right,
it was done. So it's been, and it's a happy plant.
Are you a happy? How do you know it's happy?
It's got shiny leaves and it's growing.
Oh well.
So it's a happy plant. It's just like
And
a
on that
shiny
note,
note.
It is amazing that it's still alive,
Yeah,
that thing,
no,
right?
it does fine. Houseplants are great.
All right, somebody was trying to call through. You
Okay.
definitely are welcome to call in. The number is 622-9622 if you want to talk to Carol Ann about your lawn, your garden, your...
That's right. And at the bottom of the hour, we'll give away the Magnolia Bakery gift certificates. Yeah.
There you go. And it was a good play. It
It was nice, yeah. And they've been there forever. They do cater a lot to the downtown community. That's how I said, it's an unassuming building. You probably would never know if it was there as a newcomer. So here's a great, especially if you're new to the area or whatever, or you know somebody new to the area, you want at the bottom of the hour, we'll do this. Take somebody with you, that's never been there.
Yeah.
So kind of
we sat outside. So.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, it was a gorgeous day. So.
Yeah. It's going to rain tonight, they say.
Yeah, and be cold tomorrow.
Real
That's
cool.
Just stop this. Come
not
on.
cold,
Whatever. Mother Nature, get back on your meds. It's almost April. I'm ready for 80. It's I've been going to work with a jacket on every day.
You might need to do that tomorrow.
And it's kind of going, I'm not going to wear jeans, or if I do, I'm bringing shorts, kind of thing. But yeah, it's chilly. It was chilly. It's a beautiful morning this morning. Beautiful gardening weather. And just to go on that, telling Joe there, when all the potting soils are on sale right now. It's gung ho, woohoo! It's spring. Let's plant. Let's get out there and do. And I've got it. I got to get some soil myself and get some stuff in the ground. I bought some turmeric roots at the Master Gardener Festival. I've still not put them in a pot. I just haven't had the time yet. But they will go in a pot hopefully today, if not Thursday when I'm off again. But look, when you're going into a container, it's potting mix. Not garden soil. You think of the name. It's kind of self-explanatory. Garden soil potting mix. We don't put topsoil in flower pots, even if it's that you're trying to take up space. If you really have a really big, like say a big, huge whiskey barrel, you might be looking for something that would say raised bed. But even with those, they have a tendency to have a lot of manure in them, so you better have good drainage in that. Now, whiskey barrels, the barrel itself will absorb some extra water, but so that it drains well. They usually only have one hole in the bottom, so make sure it's not sitting down in dirt. So water, if it excessive water when it rains 4 inches of rain at a time in the spring and summertime, that it'll be one of those things that it's not filling full of water; it's actually draining through. So.
That is what I have, by the way.
Yeah, it's a big whiskey barrel. Oh yeah, I got to get mine. I got to get mine set up. Mine's sitting upside down right now. Mine fell apart because it had gotten dry.
Oh really?
Yeah, don't let whiskey barrels get dry; they will fall apart.
Yeah, I bet. I bet they will.
And I have one slat I've not been able to get back in.
Oh really?
So I have to get it flipped over and get a flat bar and push them all over and fit that one last one in. So I've been afraid to do it. So
let's see. Oh, we got plenty of time. The phone lines are open if you want to call right now, 622-9622. Don't forget, Caroline does this for a full hour, so we got a good 42 minutes before we have to wrap it up.
We sure do. And anything we've got, and we can talk landscape, we can talk lawns, fertilization for your lawn. Hopefully you've gotten that done or going to get it done this weekend kind of thing. Because we usually say, the University of Florida, they tell you to fertilize between like the 15th of March and the 30th. That's like your optimum window when the grass is coming out of the dormancy. It's still not hot. So temperature-wise, everything's good with that. You're beginning to water again, or a little more to try to help bring that grass up and get it growing. Just remember that you don't use a weed and feed and then turn around and use your lawn fertilizer. Weed and feed, there's that second word in there. That is your fertilizer. I had somebody the other day when I said, they were buying, because there's all kinds of specials on that too. It says, use this now, use this later. Well, they're thinking later is a couple weeks. It's like, no, it's a couple months. Don't put one down and then the next weekend throw the next one down. You will harm your lawn. You will damage your lawn, and the extra nitrogen and other nutrients in those bags will then run off into the storm sewer, perk through down to the aquifer. We end up with non-point source water pollution. And we all know what was last year with the red tide, with the green cyanide algae, or I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. They can, you can trace it back to overuse of fertilizers, nitrogen-based fertilizers. So we need to be careful with all of those, and but we're getting the veggie gardens going, getting the flower beds going, all for spring, changing over to those spring and summer bloomers, realizing some of the things you may have planted in December, November, December, January, February, will begin to decline as the temperatures rise. The pansies, the snapdragons, petunias will probably go another couple months, so long as we don't start getting heavy rain. So do watch how much water you put down. When you're redoing your garden beds, throw in a couple bags of manure in there, or compost, garden soil, anything. If you're building up a new bed, it's a great time. Now, like I said, they're all going on sale. Pick a box store. Everybody's got them. Different. And I always say, go buy, pick your favorite brand. I don't think there's that great a difference in them, though the manufacturers will show you pictures, and it's the amount of fertilizer they're putting in or how quickly that fertilizer is released, which might not be the best thing.
So I wanted to tell you a story that was in the news yesterday. That's what I was just looking for. And I'm not trying to undermine what this young student did.
Okay.
But it sounds to me like something that we already know. But anyway, so they're talking about how a girl from Mount Dora, and she's a young girl, so she's in school, and so they had this science experiment at the Montessori school in Roseboro in Lake County. Okay, so she came up with an experiment to show how rotten garbage and rainwater can make what she calls compost tea.
Yeah.
And she says a lot of people use artificial fertilizers and pesticides. She wanted to find a way where it wouldn't hurt the earth. And she won first place. And now she's moving on to the next level.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, that's where
doesn't that sound like what we've done already?
But I mean, she's doing a science project for school.
So
yeah,
she
that's
wins
probably the
first
science. That's the science fair,
All
and
right.
it's probably the way she did her. This was her hypotheses. This was the steps she went through, and so that's why she won first place within her school. So this wasn't
correct. Yeah, I got that. But the fertilizer and pesticide from the same formula, is that right? I mean, that sound right to
not
you?
usually. I mean, well, I guess her thing was just combining the two: synthetic versus organic. She was taking her compost or what she was making into compost, putting it into something, leaching out using rainwater to make a fertilizer to water the plants, as compared to probably something, I haven't read the article, what she used as her other two controls and plain water, as something like a liquid fertilizer, like just as an example, Miracle Grow, or taking a synthetic granulated fertilizer and what's coming off of it. Of course, the compost is going to be more earth friendly. It doesn't have. It's not synthetic.
What does it do?
It's going to be readily absorbed.
Does it do two jobs at once? Fertilize and kill the bugs?
No.
No. Okay.
No, it can't kill insects. No, it's just no. I mean, what it's doing is probably making a healthy plant. And if you're keeping your plants healthy by feeding them, having good soil, and that you don't have to use as much pesticide. So that's because a healthy plant can withstand a certain amount of pest pressure.
Oh, okay. So there.
So you do right. It does that whole thing. If you have a weak, that's what, when we buy plants in the store. Especially, I'll just go with vegetables on this. You want a nice, healthy plant. You're not going to get the one that's wilty down. You're going to get the one that looks sturdy and strong, and that because you're going to get a good start. Why spend good money on a plant that's already weak, especially if you're looking to get a crop from it? And then if you're using good soil, whether you're using strictly an organic-based garden soil or potting mix, or versus one that was more synthetic, and the synthetic part of that is the fertilizer. It's not that the soil is fake. It's compost and everything, but they've added a synthetic fertilizer to it. And keeping the plant properly watered, fertilizing properly, that kind of thing, enough sunshine, and you may not need to use any pesticides, or you can use the least harmful. You could use just the jet of water to knock the aphids off, and just sort of gently washing them off, or maybe needing to step up to an insecticidal soap or a homemade insecticidal soap, that you don't need to start to get into the heavy duty stuff. So you always want to start at the least harmful before you go up to the heavy stuff. Just like same an analogy. You get a little cut on your finger. You don't run to the emergency room to get stitches. You wash it and put a Band-Aid on it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's generally enough that we don't have to. You have a small rash. We don't automatically think we have measles. We don't run for antibiotics for a simple heat rash, but kind of things like that. Just if you keep things healthy, we don't have to. You don't have to step up. I want to say I've read that they've said done studies that a plant can lose 30% of its leaf matter of vegetable, like a tomato or a bell pepper plant, something like that, 30% of its leaves, and still produce a full crop. So even if something's eating it, it's not like, I have to run out immediately. But keeping the plant healthy is
good news for my apple tree, because it lost all but 3.
Right.
And then let's make it a comeback now.
It's making a comeback, yeah.
Those 3 leaves, I guess, kept it going.
It was enough, and its root system, even though it had gotten a little bit overwatered, because you backed off in time, it's making a comeback.
Phone lines are open if you want to call in. The number is 622-9622. If you are looking to win the $10 gift certificates to the Magnolia Bakery and get some of the delicious food, not just baked items, but they've got sausage sandwiches and all kinds of good stuff, then you'll need to call during the break, which will be in about a minute and a half. But if you want to call right now to ask Caroline a question, you're welcome to do that. Once we get to the break, by the way, you will not be on the air when you call,
right?
And I will not answer the phone more than once.
Right.
Right? Is that what we're doing?
I think we have.
Or twice.
We have 2, so I guess it's
twice. Okay, twice.
Yeah.
So 2 people will win. So just let it ring, and once we come back on the air, if it's still ringing, you know that you did not win. Just the way it works.
That's the way it goes, and we just randomly draw. Just randomly pick a phone number.
Hit the button, and go, whoever's there.
Hey, looky here. Yeah, we try to let a few of them come on and just grab a couple. So if it's ringing, let it ring. If after.
Who was your inspiration for gardening? I think I might have asked you this before. Did you have a teacher or a parent or somebody?
Initially, when I was a kid, my mom. There was a few things planted in the yard that I used to. I liked them, and in order to keep my dad from mowing them over with a lawnmower, because my dad was vicious with a push mower, and Mom encouraged me how to told me some tricks on how we kept Dad away from him. And then once I was an adult, it was actually my mother-in-law that we vegetable garden.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you had a long gap.
Yeah, she taught me quite a bit. A little bit of a bit of a gap. Probably I would have gotten into horticulture in high school because I went to a vocational school, but unfortunately at our school, my sister's school offered it for full able-bodied learners, and my school had it for the disadvantaged students.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a Kenny's Place kind of thing, right into the public in the public school. But because I would have been too far above. At that time they didn't bus you to the other school to take the classes. So it was
you made it for lost time.
I made it for lost time. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. If you would like to take a shot at winning these $10 gift certificates to the Magnolia Bakery, call right now 622-9622. I will answer the phone twice. So hang in there, let it ring. But if it's still ringing, then we're back from the break. That means we picked 2 other people. We'll take a little break. Be right back with Carol Ann. If you want to call in, 622-9622. That's for the winning the prize, and that's also for speaking to Carol Ann in about 4 minutes. 622-WOCA. This is WOCA, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. 6 Democratic Party House Committee chairmen have written to Attorney General William Barr demanding the release of the entire Mueller report by next Tuesday. So far, we've just seen Barr's summary.
The Justice Department has declined even to say how many pages the report includes, as if that were some sort of state secret.
Top Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer, Barr has said he'll release as much of the report as the law and Justice Department regulations and policy allows. The Trump administration is arguing that Obamacare should be entirely overturned.
The Department of Justice announcing yesterday that it is siding with a district court ruling that found the Affordable Care Act unconstitutional. Now, a coalition of Republican-led states brought a lawsuit arguing that the entire law should be tossed out. Of course, Democrats arguing that this will have substantial consequences if the law is eventually tossed out.
Fox's Tracy Carrasco. This is Fox News.
Ask yourself, if you built a van for your business, where would you start? At the beginning, of course, with the people who invented the work van over 100 years ago, Mercedes-Benz. You'd give your new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter advanced technology and safety to keep you connected and protected. You'd make it available in diesel and gas, and there would be thousands of configurations and upfits to choose from. You build it right here in the USA, because your one-of-a-kind business deserves nothing less than a van that's built for you. Introducing the all-new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, The safest, most innovative Sprinter yet, starting at just $33,790. Built for you, the all-new Sprinter, built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz, vans, born to run.
MSRP excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Equipment described as optional. 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter available soon.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. A suspect has been arrested in Leesburg after shooting an 80-year-old man during a carjacking attempt at a shopping plaza. The victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. A Palm Beach man who kept pigeons was electrocuted when he used a metal pole to remove one of his birds from a power line. The father of a Sandy Hook victim killed himself yesterday, just days after 2 Stoneman Douglas students also took their lives. Legislation raising the minimum age to 21 for Floridians to possess tobacco or vaping products has cleared a Senate committee. A Miami state lawmaker is wearing rain boots during legislative sessions to inspire climate change conversations. Senator Jose Javier Rodriguez's Senate Bill 78 would require builders to conduct a sea level impact study before starting construction. A nude woman rescued a dog along I-95 in Flagler Beach, and Disney has announced the NBA experience will open at Disney Springs on August 12th. And that is your news brief from the source.
Scusa, just in case you don't know, there's a real Italian bakery in Ocala. The name is a Magnolia Bakery, and they make a hard crust of bread, also known as Italian bread. Don't forget the pastries and the cakes too. And they have hot and cold lunch on Tuesday through Friday. So when you spend $8, you get free pizza dough or bread. So call your order in ahead and save the time. Call 352-207-2667. Magnolia Bakery on Magnolia Avenue in Ocala. 352-207-2667.
Hey, this is Matt from Crossroad Auto Sales. I want to invite you to come over and check out our vehicles. All of our vehicles at Crossroad Auto Sales go through a rigorous 100-point safety inspection. We work with most outside finance companies, and we even have in-house financing available. Stop by today at 1800 Northwest 10th Street or give me a call at 690-6695. That's 690-6695. Crossroad Auto Sales. We won't leave you stranded at the crossroad.
Hello, gorgeous. Hi, this is Becky at Hello Gorgeous Salon. It's time to get that new look started. Let's get rid of those sun-damaged ends and faded out color and get into something rich and vibrant. Humidity is not your hair's friend. It causes your hair to capture moisture and leaves it looking dry and unhealthy. Hello Gorgeous is a certified Brazilian blowout salon. We can tame those locks, leaving your hair healthy and shiny with a Brazilian smoothing treatment. So let us help you make a great first impression. Call us today to set your appointment at Hello Gorgeous. Our number is 352-351-5358. Again, that's 352-351-5358. And don't forget, we also do men and children's cuts too. 351-5358. Hello Gorgeous is conveniently located in the heart of downtown Ocala. So call today and set up your appointment at Hello Gorgeous Salon at 351-5358. That's 351-5358. Hello, gorgeous.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock, 68 degrees, another beautiful day out there. Looks like the rain that's in the forecast doesn't happen till late tonight and into tomorrow morning, and that will usher in some cooler temperatures. Today's high at 81, tomorrow's high at 70. Let's return now to Carol Ann Baldwin in the Garden with Carol Ann. If you'd like to call the station and speak to Carol Ann, the number is 622-9622. You will be on the air.
And congratulations to the 2 winners.
We did have 2 winners, yes.
Yep. So
Thank you.
enjoy your lunch or pastry desserts that you'll take home for after dinner
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah, that's a great deal.
So something I have a memory from New York. They have there the black and white cookies.
Oh, right.
I know
right,
they have at Publix,
at Publix
too.
and stuff. But yeah, you figure which one's probably going to taste better. You could probably do a taste test.
They're about the same. I'll be honest with you.
both really good.
They're pretty good.
They're
Yeah,
both really good.
Are you ready for you got a phone call?
Sure.
Good morning.
Fantastic.
You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning. Good morning. I got a question for you. I always listen to your show. I'm a city guy, and I come down here now. I'm trying to learn my way around growing things, right? So I got these roses, and I know you said a couple about them Valentine's Day to trim them back.
Right.
Of course, like usual, I didn't listen. But because I had flowers coming up on it, and I said, let it go. And I still got a ton of these little buds on it, but the leaves are starting to turn yellow.
Yeah. But do you know what
kind of that mean?
Well, it could be a matter of just a stressful type thing with the plant. Do you know what kind of roses they are?
I I know some of them are drift roses because I bought them from one of your sponsors over on the other side of town. The other 3 bushes, there's 6 bushes total, and the other 3 were there. And I inherited the house from my father, and I think he transplanted those 20 years ago when he left New York and took them down there with him. And they've been doing pretty good, you know.
Wow, that's a long time. I'm wondering actually if maybe they'd been replaced. Are the big ones a little more like a shrub, like something that gets up to about 4 feet, nice and wide? The flower being kind of flat.
Really. They kind of well, they probably could if I did a better job of taking care of them.
Gotcha.
They kind of like grow all over the place. You know? Like a vine almost.
Oh, all right. So maybe they are a climber. On the drift roses that are the ground cover ones, you can go ahead and trim them back. If you haven't fertilized yet, fertilize. On the
I'm not here in the summer, and I remember you saying if you're not around.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I mean,
better words, I'm a snowbird.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. But I mean, if they haven't been fed yet this spring, they need to be fed. They're hungry.
I put the manure on it, like you said.
Okay.
You said that was like chocolate for roses.
Oh yeah, they do love that.
I didn't put any specific fertilizer on them, because I don't want to mess with success.
Sure.
My luck, I'll burn them up or something.
Yeah, but you can add a rose fertilizer to that manure because the manure is very, very mild. Roses do love it, but I would probably use a rose fertilizer. Use it now. And when do you go back? When do you go back up north?
Probably in about 5-6 weeks.
Okay, I would probably do it.
Starts getting real hot.
Gotcha. I would use a rose fertilizer now, and then use it one more time right before you leave. The drift roses, I would go ahead and cut them back if they're got some decent size to them. You could take them back into like say an 10 or 12-inch circle. And then they will fill back out.
They're about 2.5 foot high now. They're up to, they're pretty high. They're up above my waist.
Okay. And they're nice and sprawled out.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. You can go ahead and trim them some, and that way that'll get some nice fresh growth. It's not going to hurt them to prune them now. Yes, you're going to lose some buds, but that's okay. They're going to grow more. The other ones, I would cut out anything that's dead. And you can, I know it's March, you can go ahead and prune them some, or as you cut off flowers that were there, cut them back a little ways. And of course, I don't know if anybody, I use hand gestures, so the camera's fantastic if you're watching online.
I got on a Bluetooth. I'm going down to the Rays game.
Gotcha. But go ahead, and come down a ways when you're cutting off some of those roses, and that will prune them some to where they'll throw some new growth off down lower. And
how high off the ground should they be? About 18 inches or so. Take them down that low?
No, I wouldn't take them down that low. If they do the tall ones have roses on them, or flowers or buds.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 that just popped up on the ones that my father brought down.
Okay.
I thought he transplanted them, but they got some flowers, and the little drift roses, like 1 or 2 just popped up the other day.
Sure.
I see all these little buds all over the place.
Right.
I feel like I accomplished something. I lived in an apartment house. I never grew anything in my life, other than lazy.
Right.
Now I feel like I'm accomplishing something.
Sure. And of course, that's all a reaction to that manure that you put on them. That gave them a nice little boost. But now on the tall.
I did that in January. The manure I put down in January when I first got down here.
Sure. And that's why, here it is. Because it was still wintertime, a couple months later, and boom, now they're putting on buds and flowers and new growth. But the taller roses, I wouldn't just take them back down to 18 inches. No, I would take, and wherever the flower, if it's up there, is when you cut that flower off to it's finished, is cut about 10 inches, and take that weight, that'll take them back some and put on some new growth, and do that as it's blooming and doing while you're here. When you come back in the fall, we can address what you need to do through fall to get them, get a better start next spring.
There's really the only thing that happens is nature, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I don't use my sprinklers, because that means I got to pay the landscaper.
Right.
Because the more stuff grows, the more he's got to cut it,
Sure.
But the fertilizer, not too much, though, right?
No. Pay attention to what the package will tell you. If you buy one of the Shake and Feed or the Bio Advanced Rose Foods and things like that. Just read the directions. It's usually like a capful or so around each one. If you buy just one of the little bags of rose food, you're talking a handful or so around each plant. And then doing it now and then do it like right before you leave should be fine. And then you'll come back to some nice, healthy-looking roses.
All right. I was curious because I figured, I don't know, I thought that'd burn them up if I cut them with fertilizer on them.
No.
And I listened to you a few weeks ago where you said if the stuff's old to get rid of it,
Right.
Because there was bags of stuff that I didn't buy, and I've been down here 9 years now, and I think my old man must have had this stuff. I said, and it does make sense. Chemically, everything kind of changes.
Changes over time, right, especially if it's kept in a shed or a garage where it's temperature's not controlled and it gets pretty hot.
Yeah. So I took your advice. I was going to use that, but I said, I took it down, and I asked the guy what to do with it, and we got rid of it safely.
Sure.
But I just, I didn't want to take a chance,
No, and burn stuff up with old stuff.
For me,
Yeah.
And like I said, I never got anything to grow. I'm like, wow, I feel like I accomplished something, especially with the ones I planted.
Sure. And
it was a bit of a challenge. And the ones that were here, it's almost like wood, the bottom of them. It's like a tree branch. They're about maybe 1.5 inches in diameter. It looks like a hard wood.
Yes, well, they will. They'll get woody. They'll, and that's just how roses do. They will get quite a trunk or quite a stem to them.
Yes, and it almost looks like it's dead, but it's not.
No, it's just a good.
It's like a moss growing on them. It's like they're green, like a green fungus.
It's not a fungus. It's just a moss. Yeah, it just happens, especially on older plants, and I mean that moss will grow on fences. It'll grow anywhere at once on power lines. So it's not hurting them.
It's a little different. It's almost flaky.
Yeah, it's all right though. It's a lichen.
Got it all off my trees.
Yeah, it's a lichen.
And I learned you don't try to get them off trees because I ended up getting bugs all over me trying to knock it off with a stick.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. It's not hurting anything.
Okay, good. Yeah. I was thinking of buying some kind of spray, but then again, I don't want to kill everything.
Yeah, no, there's
paranoia of everything I touch dies.
Yeah, it's not hurting anything.
Okay, all right. I'll take your advice. I'll pick some food up and put some on down tomorrow.
Yep, sounds good.
I love your show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, bunch. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to listen in on that one. Yeah. Sounds like it's got to be scary to leave for months and just hope you come back.
And see where I work, I have that a lot. I mean, many of my customers that are coming in right now, they're planting all kinds of stuff, and it's like, wow, you're going to be able to enjoy it. Oh, I don't know if you stay through. Some of them only stay through Easter and leave, that next weekend. Some may stay until Memorial Day, just because it hasn't gotten hot yet, or they are, we're going to be visiting family or whatever, traveling over the summer versus actually being snowbirds, and it's like, wow, you put all this stuff in, you're spending $50, $100, $200 in landscape that you're only going to enjoy for a few weeks, or you're going to hope that survived when you come back.
Right.
And you're replacing some of that, and it's like, well, that's okay. It's called job security for me, but.
So you actually go out to their homes and take care? Does somebody? Somebody must do that.
I mean, they have people that come through and mow, or sometimes their neighbor likes to work in the garden, so they'll help do some of that. I mean, that's and down there, a lot of times people have become or that they've all moved into the same neighborhood and they're from like the same place. It's kind of funny where they've moved in, and next thing you know, their neighbor that they had for 10, 15 years up north comes down for a visit, and 2 years later they're buying a house in the same neighborhood, and so they had it's a lot of that in the villages that
So the phone number here right now is 622-9622 if you'd like to call Caroline. I saw a few calls trying to come through during that last call, so feel free to call right now. We do have it all opened up. So and don't forget there's a Facebook page that Caroline created. It's called In the Garden, and it's a great way for you to show Caroline what you've got going on.
Yes.
And whether you're successful or not. Maybe sometimes...
Yeah, sometimes if you have a little problem or something's going wrong, snapping a picture and sending it in will, give us a better idea on what is going on. That a lot of times it's hard to describe it, enough over the air. And, it's
a picture helps in your work, right?
People freak out when somebody comes in and goes, "I have this plant."
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. It's green. Oh, we're getting somewhere now. Is it big?
See, that's funny because it's true, and it's also funny because that's me.
Yeah, but
That's what I would do.
But I mean, I usually have to go through. We had one coworker, and I think sometimes it's luck. That we were doing something, and a lady came in and she goes, "I have this plant." It was the exact same thing. I said, "Okay, she's it's big, okay." She said, "It's green, okay. It's got red flowers." I said, "Mandevilla." She goes, "Yes, that's it." And my coworker looked over and goes, "You're a witch." How did you get that?
I had a
it's
psychic
like,
feeling.
wow. I said, "Yes," and no, I did not pay her to come through.
You were communicating.
It was. I have certain options. I'm going to go through a list. That's the first thing that I know is planted in this area. When you realize what your customers buy, what's in their landscapes, your odds are pretty good.
When we talk about native plants,
yes,
all the native plants are native. There's a comment. That's an obvious statement, right? Which means they all grow in the same soil. Right?
No. I mean, native to Florida. Florida's huge. I mean, and you get down to the Keys, what would be native down there may not grow up here. Native to the beach sides
native
and things
our
like
area.
that. Native to our area. And even then, not exactly. Because you get over to by Rainbow Springs, or some of the areas you almost have a sugar sand, where you can definitely tell this was beach. At one point, that this was underwater, and it's beach sand. Other areas where you've got maybe oak hammocks or the pine hammocks and things like that, where you have a lot of more organic materials gone into the soil over the years, and so you do have different soils in different areas. That's why I would say native plant is fantastic so long as you're planting it in its native location. It may not do as well if you have rich soil and you have something that grows more in an open flatland. Where it's drier as compared to something grown in a more forest setting where you have a little more rich, little more leaf litter, compost. What do they call that? Like oak mold. It's a beneficial thing. Where it's in the soil. It's where you find leaves piled up and you turn that over and you get that white stuff. Even on your mulch in your landscape, people come back and go, "Oh, I got this mulch and it had white stuff on it." I said, "Yeah, so does the stuff in your yard if you water."
So the girl who used garbage and rainwater, I'm assuming when she says garbage, she means natural garbage.
Kitchen scraps. Yeah, she's talking about compost, not the tin cans, not the meat scraps and that stuff. The stuff that would be
not even
compost.
The meat, huh?
No, we don't do that. It attracts rodents and other vermin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gross stuff.
So potato peels. What about eggshells?
Eggshells, yeah, eggshells are great. Eggshells even just added right into into the flower pots and
coffee
things like
grounds?
that. Coffee grounds are another good one.
Yeah.
They usually tell you to stay away from citrus, though. And if you think about it, on the market nowadays, you can find a lot of citrus-based organic/synthetic pesticides that are all citrus-based, and they're also furniture cleaners too. We do citrus oils on our floors and our wood paneling and things like that. God, paneling. When did we ever? No, we don't use paneling too much nowadays, but shows my age.
Not too often.
Not too often nowadays, but we have wood grain things and that. And so they tell you that using citrus in your compost bins may actually repel beneficial organisms and earthworms and things like that. So you might not want to do the citrus in there just because it oils. But you might want to take those citrus peels and use them, grind them up, use it, get a cheap blender from a yard sale so that you're not using the same ones. If we remember, Fred used to do his bugs in the blender, not the same one he made his smoothies in, but the other one, the bug one, and use it as a pesticide. Instead. You might try it. I mean, I don't know if anybody has too much. I'd be a little cautious on it. Maybe an orange peel, whirl it up a little bit, throw some water in there, maybe steep it some, and then, or hot water, steep that a little bit, draw the water off, and try to use that for a pesticide, and then use the peels on the ground around. Might be help to keep some stuff away.
So if I went down to the National Forest, Ocala National Forest, and I saw a pretty plant, and I don't know if it's against the rules or the law.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
So I mean, I couldn't just pick it up and put it into my car and bring it home, huh?
Nope, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to move stuff especially out of the national forest. That belongs to the federal government. It's not yours. But you can find native plant nurseries who either have the ability, or they have some of these plants planted on their own site where they take their own cuttings. Or sometimes these are also even cloned. There's a lot of plant cloning that goes on. It's called tissue culture. But
but you can't do that either. And in the forest, you can't grab a leaf or whatever.
You're not supposed to. I'm sure it doesn't stop some people, but you're not supposed to. Same thing is going. I mean, if everybody did it, what would we have? The same way you're not supposed to. Yeah, you're not supposed to go through botanical gardens with Ziploc baggies in your purse and your little clippers taking clippings. Because if everyone did it, that botanical garden would look like I'd look like hell. Okay, but you never just take that, because that's what damages those natural areas. And what is, I have to look up the date, but it was pre-European pre-European settlers is what is considered native. Anything else would be, exotic. It's not necessarily invasive, because there are Florida-friendly plants that are not native, but they thrive in our climate, which means it handles all the rains we have, handles our weird winters where we're warm and cold, dry, warm springs usually, and that they don't get away. They don't either reproduce themselves, aggressively, or that birds and things like that aren't taking the seed and and when they eat the berry off of it, dispersing it elsewhere. That's what makes a Florida-friendly plant, is that it's it's just what it says. It's friendly to Florida. It's not going to invade native areas or not disperse, but destroy native habitat by being encroaching.
I'm throwing you a little bit of a curveball here, but are you able to give us the titles of any books that are Central Florida specific?
There's a lot of them actually that through the University of Florida Press and I know I have a book here that just came in the mail, and I think that's a Florida University of Florida Press. Used to be called Penguin Press, I think, or Pineapple Press. Yeah, but there's quite a few, and the Extension Office has them, and a lot of them you can. They're Florida. They were done for Florida. Tom McCubbin had a few of them. Oh, that's me. I'm going to ignore that. There we go. Yeah, it's humming and it won't let me hang up. But there's ones on native plants for Central Florida. There's perennials, and those are the kind of books, especially if you're a newcomer or you're looking to redo your landscape, is to looking for those kind of books. Some of them are at the public library. There are probably some that might be ebooks, so you'd get it, or you can buy them in the bookstore or over at the Master Gardener office. We have quite a publications section, and you can go right up the University of Florida and go to the bookstore and buy them right up there. I actually bought one during the Spring Festival that I have not had even hardly a chance to do anything but flip through, and it's a little more on landscape design.
Gardening section of Barnes & Noble probably has a bunch of books.
And you're
local.
You're right, and they do carry a lot of the Florida University of Florida publications as well. And you can, I think you can order them online. You can get them through Amazon and things like that. But those are going to be better than Eastern United States. That's at least better than big worldwide. And Southeast would become a little more localized. But if you can buy Florida, because Florida, we always say you cross that line in onto the peninsula, and you're on a whole nother planet. We have more temperate areas up in the Panhandle and north Central Florida, northern Central Florida. Here in Central Florida, we have a pretty nice climate, but we're still what's considered subtropical. You get down into the Keys and things like that, and I do believe the Keys are considered tropical. So and then you've got coastal regions on both sides that you have a whole nother world when you come into Florida. I mean, at one time when my eldest niece, was about 6 years old or so, and they were coming up to visit my mom up here in Ocala, and as they were driving up and coming out of South Florida, my niece is looking around because the trees and the plants were so different driving down the road. She goes, "Grandma, are we still in Florida?" And she, because she was raised in Palm Beach County area and had spent some time even over in Puerto Rico, and so she's accustomed to much more tropical than what we have.
Puerto Rico is considered tropical.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or we have oak trees and pine trees and all that up here, and trees that lose their leaves. Their trees down there never lose leaves, so it's all very very tropical, very lush, and so. Whole different thing. So when you come into Florida, you got to forget what you learned, forget what you knew about gardening up north, and realize taking a couple of courses either offered by garden clubs or joining your local garden club. If there's one in your community, do it that way, or just some of the larger garden clubs on something that you're interested in here in this area. Master gardeners have clinics all the time, whether or not you're here in Marion County, Sumter, Lake County. They all have either clinic offices that you can go to with your questions and get publications, or pick up some of the books, garden shows, the different ones that occur at the library, in the store I happen to work at, Sumter County, their master gardeners come in twice a month and set up a little table to answer questions, and they bring in flyers and different publications that are pertinent to the time of year, the questions people may ask. So if you're down on that south end of the county, the Lowe's in Lady Lake there has on the first Tuesday and the third Saturday of each month. I think they run from 10 to 2, I believe, is when they're there. 10 to 2, 9 to 2, something like that. And they come in and they're there, so they're available to answer some questions there.
So Kathy Snyder, 10 minutes ago, according to this, posted some pictures. Is this a cabbage? Is that a cabbage?
Yes, that was, And she was
that looks healthy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Looks real healthy. And then her walkway, and then look at all these little black...
those are the lubber grasshoppers. Yeah. Those are the ones that are hatching out. They've been hatching out probably for about several weeks now. And the lubber grasshopper grows up to be that southern lubber grasshopper. Kill them when they're little. Kill them with a vengeance.
All right, interesting show today. Thank you, Carol-Ann.
Thank you, Larry.
You have to work today?
No, I'm off, but I have to go grocery shopping.
Okay. All right. If you have any questions for Carol-Ann during the week, go to her Facebook page, In the Garden, and become a member of that select group, and she will select you.
That's
then you can post a photo or ask a question or just brag about how well you're doing.
There you go.
It's always fun. Thank you, Carol-Ann.
Have a great day.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Chris Foster. The House votes today on whether to override President Trump's veto of a bill blocking his emergency declaration to pay for a border wall. That vote's expected to fall short. The Defense Department, meantime, has approved the transfer of $1 billion for new fence construction.
It would be 18 feet tall and 57 miles long along the Yuma and El Paso sectors. Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan has authorized the commander of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to begin planning and executing the project. The money would also be used to build and improve roads and install new lighting.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. One inmate still on the loose, with 4 recaptured after a jailbreak in North Carolina. Nath County Sheriff Keith Stone says they forced their way through an old fence in the exercise yard.
They're playing basketball, playing handball in here. They're kicking it. They're seeing how it moves back and forth. There's no stability in it.
He says where the escape happened was in a security camera's blind spot. This is Fox News.
I'm John Simmons, Manager of Agriculture for Tabasco brand pepper sauce. My family's made Tabasco sauce for 150 years. What am I working for? I'm working to stay true to our family recipe.
At ADP, we're designing a better way to work so you can achieve what you're working for. HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll. Informed by data and designed for people. Learn more at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
Indeed knows finding the right hire takes time away from your business.
Hiring a qualified data engineer felt like a second job.
More job seekers use Indeed than any other site, so there's no better place to find someone with the skills you're looking for.
I needed someone with a master's in computer science and database experience.
Plus, Indeed screener questions help you find your shortlist fast.
Now I'm back to having just one job.
Get a $50 credit to give your first job posting premium placement at Indeed.com/credit. Terms, conditions, quality standards, and usage limits apply. Additional terms online.
Here is your one-minute news brief. A suspect has been arrested in Leesburg after shooting an 80-year-old man during a carjacking attempt at a shopping plaza. The victim suffered non-life-threatening injuries. A Palm Beach man who kept pigeons was electrocuted when he used a metal pole to remove one of his birds from a power line. The father of a Sandy Hook victim killed himself yesterday, just days after two Stoneman Douglas students also took their lives. Legislation raising the minimum age to 21 for Floridians to possess tobacco or vaping products has cleared a Senate committee. A Miami state lawmaker is wearing rain boots during legislative sessions to inspire climate change conversations. Senator Jose Javier Rodriguez's Senate Bill 78 would require builders to conduct a sea level impact study before starting construction. A nude woman rescued a dog along I-95 in Flagler Beach, and Disney has announced the NBA experience will open at Disney Springs on August 12th. And that is your news brief from the source.
Scusa, just in case you don't know, there's a real Italian bakery in Ocala. The name is a Magnolia Bakery, and they make a hard crust of bread, also known as Italian bread. Don't forget the pastries and the cakes too. And they have hot and cold lunch on Tuesday through Friday. So when you spend $8, you get free pizza dough or bread. So call your